Okay, guys, how to save a game when you're getting destroyed? Well, here I'm playing this Grandmaster last round of Title Tuesday, and like usual, he did not hesitate to show me why he's a Grandmaster and I'm not. So I'm playing my burst opening. I've been using it lately a lot, and just trying to show you guys that openings are not that important as long as you make it to the middle game by developing your minor pieces, castling, and of course controlling the center, right? My opponent chooses to play knight f6 castle. You saw in another video that I put up that sometimes we could do the birds opening with the fianchetto on the king side, more familiar to or more similar to what we typically get with the king's Indian attack and so on. So fianchetto on the queen side, we're paying attention to that square on e5, and this resembles what we get in the Nimzo Indian, color reversed, but pretty much the same idea. So I finished with my development, and then my queen e1, of course, just like in the Nimzo Indian, we're going to bring it to the king side. It could be to h4 or to g3. Now, my bishop and queen, they're putting pressure indirectly on g7. So the knight on f6, we could say it is pinned. Now, at this point, guys, I'm only thinking, how can I make progress? Typically, I handle knight b4 with bishop d1, and then I kick the knight out. But here, I calculated a little bit, and I said, what if I just do e4? And of course, the knight on f6 is not controlling e4 because of g7. So I went for it. Now, the other thing that you guys should know is that this is the last round of Title Tuesday. So I'm just trying to have fun, play aggressively. And after bishop g6, I just go knight e5. By all means, this has to be a blunder because I'm dropping the knight on d2 and there's nothing promising. But again, I'm looking for this kind of aggressive game. So I considered f5. I considered e5 and then knight e5. These are my candidate moves. If you want to play it safer, you could even do something like rook a to d1. You could do even rook c1 to defend the pawn on c2 and then a3 kicking the knight out. But again, 95 was played, and I knew that if I take on g6, f takes g6, I could start putting pressure on that king. I could even do a rook lift and so on. So here I believe I just did knight g6. Of course, they don't have time to take on e2 because I would take on e7. And now bishop c4, trying to put pressure on the light squares. I removed the light squares and now I'm putting pressure on it. Guys, ultimately what I want you to get from this video is something that we've been reinforcing over and over. If I'm losing, I need to complicate the game. This is how you save lost possessions. I have nothing to lose already. I'm already done. I'm down by a piece. So unless I complicate the game, I'm not going to come back from this. If I just simplify the game quietly, we're going to go to an endgame where I'm lost. So here you go, e5, the knight moves. Well, I need my queen to remain on the king side. So I was thinking queen g4, hitting the knight, or queen h3, being on the same file as the king. So queen h3, and by the way, guys, pay attention to the light squares. Again, we removed their light square bishop, so that means we're going to be dominating that. And that's something that I knew when I played f6. Not only am I breaking down their king's defenses, but more specifically, I'm making f5 available for my bishop. So now my opponent is getting low on time, so I feel better about this position, even though I'm lost. But at least I got to complicate the game. So queen c2, and now I have the option to defend my bishop or continue to be energetic. Now, one thing about f6 now, besides the light squares and so on, is that if I take on e7, that's going to be a fork on the rooks. So they took. Now I could take, or I could, again, pay attention to the light squares. Guys, the question to you is, should we go with the bishop or with the queen? Well, bishop check, and then we penetrate through the light squares. It's unbelievable that they just cannot defend g6. They don't have a light square bishop. Their pawns are all on dark squares. So now I know that if I go to g6, the king could hide to f8. So I looked into pawn takes pawn, but also what if I just go pawn e6? And again, light squares. My pawn, bishop, and queen, they're all dominating the light squares. And guys, there's nothing they could do now. I'm threatening to go to f7. I'm threatening to go to g6. If they go something like rook f8, well, queen g6, the king cannot escape, and then h7. So here, I got a little bit happy, of course, and that's already checkmate. So simple game, getting destroyed, but then I remembered to just look for complications. I have nothing to lose. My opponent had everything, so he just needed to keep it quiet. But it's difficult when the other guy is just sacrificing pieces carelessly because he has nothing to lose. So with that said, guys, I hope that you found some value in this video, and I will see you in our next lesson.